Alright, so today we're going to be talking about quiet our minds and how we can control our minds from thinking ungodly thoughts. Ungodly thoughts. Alright. Alright. So there are two people that can speak to us through our minds. One is God, and the other person is the devil. The only way God can come, God does communicate to us through people. He communicates to us through people. He communicates to us through signs and symbols in our world. He communicates with us through a lot of things. But then mostly he communicates with us directly through our minds. When he whispers to our mind, he whispers his thoughts to our minds. The other person that also communicates to us is the devil. It's the devil. And usually the devil knows exactly what we think, the devil knows exactly what we like. It knows, it gives us ideas from TV screens, from movies, from even people that we see in our world. So let's say you have a crush, right? There's a guy that you think about every single time, or a girl that just caught your attention and you can't get your mind off of her. And before you know it, you go into the fantasy land, daydreaming about this woman or this man that you just met. And daydreaming is a bad, bad omen. Daydreaming is a bad case because when you start daydreaming about someone that you have not even spoken to, or someone that you have no relationship with, it pretty much takes away your time. Your time to work, to do work, your time to work for God, your time to even focus on school or whatever it is that you're going, whatever it is that is going on in your life right now. See, what it really does is it takes you off of that path that God has destined for you. It it distracts you. It distracts you. So the devil uses this this fantasy and daydreaming thing to lure us into pursuing his own path. Before you know it, you start finding ways to get in touch with this crush, or even stalking a crush, and start having start behaving psychopathically, and a lot of all those things that we see are from all those TV screens. Some of them are from movies. I even have friends that have shared with us their crush, and there's nothing wrong with having crushes. It's just when it starts to take away your activities, when it starts to affect your daily activities to actually work or do other things in your life, that's when it becomes a problem. Because what the devil is doing at that point is he's placing seeds in your mind. It's placing seeds in your mind so we can have a full-time access in your mind. So you can have a whole big couch right here sitting right here in your head, controlling you to do things. That's why they says the the idle mind is the devil's workshop. If your mind is idle, if all you're thinking about is is a person or a job or an idea, it could even be an idea that you have, an idea that you're thinking about. But the thing about having ideas is it becomes a problem when you don't have plans for your ideas. You don't have a plan on how you're going to execute your ideas. You're not working towards that idea. You just have it in your head, just sitting down there. It becomes a problem because there will be too much of overload right here. Too many ideas that have not been worked on. Too many things. Too many things. You know. But a lot of times we fall into this category of thinking about an individual, because another way the devil tries to direct, to shift our attention from what God has, where God is taking us to, is through love. Love. Everybody wants to be in a relationship. Everybody wants love. Everyone wants to feel loved somehow. And there's nothing wrong with feeling loved somehow. But then sometimes we search for all this love thing in all the wrong places. In all the wrong places. In all the wrong places. And the devil will give us a lot of ideas on what to do exactly to find this love. And what we might be doing, or what we might be considering doing to find us love, it leads us into the direction that God did not plan for us. It leads us straight to the path of this destruction. And that's what makes this guy right here happy. That's what makes this guy right here happy. Another thing is, sometimes we get into a state of depression, and depression doesn't happen in a day. When we're feeling depressed, it doesn't happen in a day. It starts with one thought. Just one thought. Just one seed that the devil plants right here. One thought. And then that one thought starts to multiply itself. It starts to multiply itself. And then our brain and our mental system becomes very, very overwhelmed, that it distresses itself. We go into a state of depression, and we don't realize how we even got there. The thing is, when you're dealing with depression, you don't even know how you got. You may not even know that you have depression. You may not even know how you got into this depressive state. How you got to be living with the depressed mind. I mean. But while we're dealing with all those things, God is usually trying to get our attention. God is finding time and finding ways to get our attention to be redirected back to Him. The thing is, when we start to fantasize and we start to daydream, we start to have that 5 hour long vision of what that boy looks like with his 6 packs. What he looks like with his shirt off, or what that girl looks like. When we start to get into that zone, our minds become really, really, really filled. There's no space right here in our heads for God to come into. And many times we're asking God, "Hey God, what plan do you have for me? What's my purpose? What's the vision that you have for me? I want you to tell me things about my life. I want you to show me what's going to happen to me, or I even want you to show me who I'm going to get married to, my future." Well, it can't show you any of those things if it can't show us any of those things if our minds are preoccupied. There's no place for God to come into, for Him to come and tell us, "Oh, this is what I have planned for you. This is my purpose for you. This is what I was thinking when I made you." And if our heart is even broken, if our heart is already broken and our heart is hardened, we can't even hear God. We can't hear God as we used to anymore. And the other ways it could even give us things in our word, even when it comes to signs and symbols and all those things. For us to be able to process any of those things, our heart needs to be in the right state. It needs to be in the right state. But it can't communicate directly to us through our mind. It can't communicate directly to us through our mind if our mind is is occupied by a lot of things that the devil will introduce to us. A lot of things that the devil will introduce to us. We have to constantly pray that God should renew our mind. God should renew our mind so we can think of what matters to Him. That's what he says in his word. My ways are not your ways, and my thoughts are not your thoughts. If we can have our minds renewed and we develop that intimacy, that relationship with God, we'll be able to see the world the way He sees the world. As we continue in that relationship with God, we'll be able to think about the things of God and what really matters to God. He will be able to show us His plan for us and His purpose for our life. And sometimes it gets really, really difficult to be able to control our minds and not allow these things like love, your future husband, a crush, and all these things to control our lives. Sometimes it's very difficult, but it doesn't expect us to be able to do it on our own. It doesn't expect us to be able to do it on our own. I remember when I was struggling to stop having sex, and I wanted to be to take to be abstinent. It was a very difficult journey for me. For me to say, okay, you know what, I don't want to have sex, and I don't want to think about sex. I don't want to think about a man. I just want God to reveal His plan for my life for me, because I wasn't really sure where my life was going at that time. And I was like, I was trying to do it by myself. I was trying to do it by myself. I tried moving away from people that I know could possibly I was attracted to. Like, no, I'm going to be leaving like almost an hour and a half away from you. That way, you wouldn't have to drive. You wouldn't have to drive to come see me, or I wouldn't have to drive to come see you, because I hated driving at that time. But even that didn't work. I tried it. It did work for quite a bit of time. But then I started to struggle. I started to struggle with it. Really, really, I started to struggle so hard with it. Sometimes I couldn't sleep at night. It was hard to sleep at night. Sometimes I would take walks, and even that would not work. That urge and that feeling would still be there to want to do this, or to even want to think about it. The thing is, at a point, I had to cry to the Lord and say, you know what, this is very difficult. This is very hard. Especially if you've been sexually active, it's very hard to stop. I said, okay, you know what, I'm not going to do anything about it, because the devil will give you ideas of what you can do. Oh, you don't really have to have sex. You don't have to have sex. You can just do something about it and just release yourself. Release that hormone. After all, the flesh is weak. The body, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. You can give God that excuse, right? you know but I knew that I didn't want to continue to do that. I didn't want to continue to go that route. And I just cried to God. God, please help me. I want to stop this. I want to be better. I want something different. I know I have to stop this to be able to hear you better. And Lord, and what He really said to me was, He didn't expect me to be able to do it myself. It's impossible for me to stop doing this. For me to stop having sex, it's impossible for me to stop. If I wanted to do it myself, it would be impossible for me to stop. If I was smoking, it would be impossible for me to stop smoking. If I was addicted to drugs or weed or anything else, it would be impossible for me to stop doing it myself, because I because it gives grace. It gives grace for us to be able to stop any of our bad habits, any of the bad habits that we have that keeps this guy seated full time in our head. God gives us the grace to be able to stop those habits. Because what the devil tries to do is he wants us to continue to remain in sin, and the more we remain in sin, the closer our spiritual death will become. The closer to hell we will get. But then the Lord will have to give us the grace and grant us the grace to be able to be able to stop thinking about sex, and stop whatever bad habits that we have. So that night, it got really bad. That night, it got really bad. I was like, my God, this is too much. I need the hormones to go away. I need the hormones to go away. I just cried to the Lord. I need you to help me. I need you to help me to be able to. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to visit anyone. I don't want anyone to visit me. I don't want to do it. Just help me. And it came through. It helped me. And he shared this perspective that I'm sharing now with you. That if I'm spending a lot of my time thinking about a man, if I'm spending a lot of my time thinking about my future husband, if I'm spending a lot of time thinking about an idea and I'm not working on it, I'm giving the devil full-time access to sit in my head. And when the devil does that, it will be difficult for him to reveal his plan for my life for me. It will be difficult for him to reveal his purpose for my life for me. And it's so true. We will have to continue to constantly pray for grace, that God should give us the grace to be able to control what the thoughts that we allow to dwell in our hearts, the thought that we allow to dwell in our minds. Because that's how the devil ruins our relationships. The devil starts to control us and tell us, hey, maybe you need to go see that boy. Maybe you need to go to, maybe you should position yourself wherever he is. Position yourself. Position yourself. Go look for him. You know where he lives. Go do this. Go do that. And it starts to control us as a slave to do whatever he wants us to do. And to others, we look like stalkers. To others, we look like psychopaths. Like, why is this girl or why is this boy chasing after me like this? And it's because we allow those thoughts to dwell in our heart, in our heads. And when they dwell in our heart, when they dwell in our heads for too long, the devil will use those thoughts to push us to do things that we wouldn't even imagine ourselves doing. Things we'd never, ever do if we're in our right senses. If we're in our right senses. So, the topic for today is very short. It's about our mind. It's about how the devil uses his thoughts and his seeds to control us. To continue to continue in our bad habits. Alright, that's it. If you're having problems, if you're having problems or you're struggling with staying abstinent, I want you to know that you can't do it by yourself. You can't stop whatever habit that you're doing behind closed doors. Nobody can see you doing what you're doing. But the devil knows exactly what he's doing. Because those things that are done behind closed doors will only affect you. It will only affect your life. It will only affect your destiny, and it would only lead you to a path that you wouldn't even know how you got to that part. You wouldn't know how you got on that path on your way to hell. You can't do it yourself. You need God to be able to help you to stop thinking ungodly thoughts, or even doing, or even involving yourself in different habits that we can possibly tell our parents about or anybody about. Whether it's cocaine, maybe whether it's smoking some type of smoke, or injecting yourself, or even cutting yourself. Some people are addicted to cutting themselves. Whatever it is that you're into, you can't stop it. You can't stop it. You need God to be able to help you to stop it. You need to continue to study your Bible and continue to pray and continue to worship and develop that intimacy with God. Sometimes I can even tell you it was hard for me to read the Bible sometimes, because the devil was literally right in my face. But you have to read that Bible. You have to flip it open. You have to flip. Well, you have to flip that Bible open. You have to flip it open. All right, that's it, guys. Love you all. Take care and God bless you.
My head is heavy, let me lay it down. Into your lap I would love to drown. I need that story